Right, I think you need to keep it up off the ground, because if you leave it on the ground, it crashes, mate. Stop when you stop going forward. Stop. So, I don't know if we're casting this out live or not, because we're both looking at the phone going, it's going out, I'm not entirely sure, but it might be. So if you're looking online, happy that you're with us. For the rest of you that are here, it's brilliant that you've joined us, and you can join us again in person. Roy, any seat that's got an X on it, mate? So it is fantastic that we can come together and we can worship as a church family, and we can come and we can give praise to our God. We're going to start with some worship. I'm going to have to give the same announcement that I gave last week. The guidance is that you are strongly advised as a congregation not to sing. Okay? You're wearing masks. I'm sure you can hum, I'm sure you can listen, I'm sure you can take part in this. But we're going to start with some worship. Let's worship together. If you want to stand, you are more than welcome to stand. Okay, you don't have to sit there, you don't have to be dummies. We can take part in everything except for we're not supposed to sing.
There's a place where mercy reigns and never dies. There's a place where streams of grace flow deep and wide, where all the love I've ever found comes like a flood, comes flowing down. At the cross, I surrender my life. I'm in all of you, I'm in all of you. Where your love ran red and my sin washed white, I owe all to you, I owe all to you, Jesus. There's a place where sin and shame are powerless, where my heart has peace with God and forgiveness, where all the love I've ever found comes like a flood, comes flowing the trial and the change. One thing remains. One thing remains. Your love never fails, never gives up, it never runs out on me. Your love never fails, it never gives up, it never runs out on me. Your love never fails, it never gives up, it never runs out on me. Your on and on and on and on it goes, for it overwhelms and satisfies my soul, and I never ever have to be afraid. One thing remains. One thing remains. Your love never fails, never gives up, never runs out on me. Your love never fails, never gives up, never runs out on me. Your love never fails, never gives up, never runs out on me. Your love. In death, in life, I'm confident, covered by the power of your great love. My debt is paid, there's nothing that can separate my heart from your great love. Your love never fails, never gives up, it never runs out on me. Your love never fails, it never gives up, it never runs out on me. Your love never fails, it never gives up, it never runs out on me. Your love. On and on and on and on it goes. It overwhelms and satisfies my soul, and I never ever have to be afraid. One thing remains. One thing remains.
Yeah, Lord, we want to thank you that you never run out on us. We want to thank you that even in those times when we forget about you, when we find ourselves too busy, we find ourselves too worried, too distracted, you're still there. So Lord, we want to thank you. And Lord, if we're in that position today where we feel we forgot about you, we've let our lives get in the way, we've let worries about our health or our friends or our loved ones get between us and you, we say sorry. We come back to you. We say thank you that you are there. Lord, we just want to worship you today. Lord, we just offer ourselves to you as a sacrifice of worship. We just pray that our praise, as silent as it may be, is like sweet incense rising to your throne room. Lord, we love you and we thank you for what you do.
Richness, love, and beauty, endless worth. Nothing in this world can satisfy. 'Cause Jesus, you're the cup that won't run dry. Your presence is heaven to me. Your presence is heaven to me. Treasure of my heart and of my soul. In my weakness you are merciful. Redeemer of my past and present wrongs. Holder of my future days to come. Your presence is heaven to me. Your presence is heaven to me. Oh Jesus, oh Jesus, your presence is heaven to me. Oh Jesus, oh Jesus, your presence is heaven to me. All my days on earth I will await the moment that I see you face to face. Nothing in this world can satisfy. 'Cause Jesus, you're the cup that won't run dry. Jesus, you're the cup that won't run dry. Your presence is heaven to me. Your presence is heaven to me. Your presence is heaven to me. Your presence is heaven to me.
I've got a little video for you to watch now. And I want to explain why I've got a video for you to watch and we're not doing this in person, because you'll recognise the person on this video. You'll recognise it's Alice. And we would have done this live, but there's a couple of reasons we haven't. The first one is we weren't quite sure that we were going to be meeting together, so we did it in case we had to broadcast it. But the second one is I don't think I could interview Alice without losing it midway through. Okay? So this is about my sanity, and it's about me not breaking down in tears at the edge of the room. So let's see if we can recognise this person here.
Hi, it's Alice. I just want to tell you a little bit about what I've been doing over the last couple of years and how that's now led to me going to do a gap year in Manchester with the Message Trust come October. And I just want to tell you a little bit more about what I'm going to be doing and how you too can support me and be on this journey with me as well. So over the last couple of years, I've really grown as a person, and I feel like I've really learned what God wants me to do in my life to some extent. I think we're always learning what God wants us to do, but 2 years ago I really felt God say that I needed to come into my school and start to lead the Christian Union, and so I did that. I was nervous at the beginning. I was like, what are you saying, God? But actually everything seemed to fall into place as we prayed for different things that we needed. Always our prayers were answered. It might be at the last second, but they were answered, and God was so faithful to us as we were running the Christian Union, and we started an Alpha course which lots of people came to, and additional kind of clubs to do with the Christian Union and outreach projects. And as I was doing this, I just really developed a passion for working with young people, but also sharing my faith. And I just realised that I feel that God had given me a gift of being able to share my faith with other people. And so then last September I started an academy course while still at school, which was a Young Evangelist Academy called Amplify. And so I did that, and it had mentoring and residentials all about evangelism and being a young evangelist. And that was great and really allowed me to grow and realise that that was a gifting that God had given me. And so as I was doing all these different things and working in the Christian Union and doing the academy, I just realised that I wanted to do something different after I left school. I didn't want to just go off straight to university, but I really wanted to invest in this gift that God had given me. And so as I heard more about the Message Trust through doing things like Hire and just hearing about it in general, I really felt that God was saying that I needed to do the Message Academy, which is their kind of internship or kind of year-out program that they have for young people like me, to learn more about what it means to be an evangelist and to work with young people and people of all different ages, sharing our faith with them. And so from doing all of these different things throughout this year, I just felt that God was saying that's right, and every time I prayed about it I just got the answer of yes, this is what you need to do. And so everything was just building up, preparing me for that time when I realised that yes, I'm going to go and do the Message Academy in Manchester. So come October, I'm going to be starting with the Message Academy, which is part of the Message Trust that you may have heard of before when we've talked about the Hire Tour, which is going to be in Lincoln, and other things to do with the Message Trust like Eden Teams and working in prisons and schools. Come October, I'm going to be living in Manchester in a house with other people who are also going to be on this Message Academy. And the year will be a year of starting with mostly training and just general learning about what it means to be an evangelist, but also more biblical kind of lessons, as well as more practical techniques of youth work and working in communities and sharing the gospel, how we can do that in the most effective way. And then as well as that, there'll also be placements that I'll be doing, whether that be in a homeless shelter or a youth group, and these will be in the evenings. But as the year progresses, more and more of my time will be spent doing missional placements and less doing training, up until the third term, which will start at Easter, where I'll be doing mission full-time, whether that be in Manchester where I'll be based, or right across the nation and possibly even internationally, sharing the love of God and sharing the gospel with people so that more people come to know Jesus.
Who are we? We are gospel-centered art with one vision, mission. In schools, on stages, on the streets and in prisons. We are a movement of the unashamed, untamed, unconventional, unshaken truth that has one name: Jesus. We are kingdom community, spell one word: Eden. Might catch us in an office building 9 to 5, then on a corner of your neighborhood 5 to 9. Cause this is more than comfortable living, it's 24/7 life online. It says, I will live for this cause rather than mine. We are broken people with a united cause, an undivided love in a divided society, proclaiming Jesus is Lord. More than performances for applause, we are community to the fractured and the poor. Where ex-drug dealers find freedom in Christ, where suicide runs to hide, where death turns to life, but the local thief becomes the urban hero, where 100 crimes become 0. We are transformed lives, transforming lives. We are God-shaped enterprise, where ex-prisoners and addicts find their home and become more than ever dreamed or hoped. Cause in a world saying, I can't do it, we say, yes you can. You can take a stand, find who you're meant to be, discover your identity in the Maker's plan. Cause we won't sit back whilst the generation dies. We advance through your city proclaiming real life. We train up the next generation to effectively proclaim Christ. We are a movement of laid down lives, refusing to hide. We go beyond music and take people higher. We're not about fame or being admired. From the ones and twos to venues filled with thousands, we are unashamedly proclaiming Jesus. This is more than a job. We're born for this. We're called to this. To every tongue, race, face, and nation, we are community transformation, equipping identity proclamation. We are conveying the gospel with word and action, transforming lives, calling the next generation to rise. We are the message.
So, the last thing I want to talk about is how you can support me. So, I would really love this year out that I'm going to do in Manchester, the Message Academy. I would love it not to just be about me going off to Manchester and you not hearing anything about it. I want you to be on this journey with me too. And so I'd love it if you'd support me. In fact, I really hope you would support me. So there's a few different ways that you could support me. Firstly, I'd love it if you'd pray for me. I'd love that you would commit to praying for me, for my protection, for me to be effective in what I'm doing with working with the people there, and just that it will go well and that God will use me. And so I'd just love it if you'd pray for me. The second thing is I'd love it if in any way at all you could support me financially, whether that be once a month or whether that just be a one-time thing, because while I'm there I need to support myself to live, to eat, to pay rent, and so I'd love it if you could support me in that way. And then the last way that you could support me is I'd love to tell you all about what I'm doing each month. And so I'd love to do that through a mailing list, through emails, or if you're not techie, maybe we can get it to you to some other way. So if you want to be in the know, if you want to hear about what I'm doing, know things that you can pray for, then I'd love it if at the end of this you could sign up or contact me somehow to say that yes, you want to be on that mailing list and hear what I'm doing in Manchester and how you can support and pray for me while I'm there. And so I hope that one of those 3 ways you can support me. I would be so grateful any way that you could support me. And I'm just really excited to go on this journey, but also for you to be involved too, when I can tell you all about what I'm doing and what's happening there.
When did you go, Alice? October the 17th. She would have gone if it hadn't have been for the coronavirus situation. It would be really good if we can just pray for Alice as she goes. She's spoken about ways to support her. She'll chat to people. It's all of a sudden become very real to me that I'm about to lose my little girl. Manchester's going to get a great evangelist. So, please, can we support her in prayer as we do that? She's not disappearing for a couple of weeks, so we will have her we will commission her. We will pray for her as we go. Today, I want to speak to you about something different. There's another little video. Can you just put it on? I don't want any sound, though, Andrew, if you can just duck the sound, because I think it might have some strange things going on in the background. We're going to get the video, Andrew. Cool, thank you. You'll have seen this before. This is my burner, my chimney. And this is in my garden. I want to tell you the story of my chimney. Because Jen bought me a fire pit for her birthday a couple of years ago, and it was great. It burnt wood in, but it sadly melted. I'm quite good at getting fires going, and clearly I got one going too well. So when I bought this one here, it took months of research. Absolutely months of research. I think I drove Jen mad with all the options that I was looking at. It had got to come off the floor. I wanted it off the floor because I wanted to be able to sit in front of it and not just get hot feet. It had got to be made of Corten steel because I'd already worked out that pressed steel was not going to survive. It had got to be able to take decent-sized logs. It had got to have something that directed the smoke up and away. Do you know, I think I spent nearly as long specifying that burner, and I was so precise in it, it may well have been the altar for burning incense in the temple. And that's where I want to take us today. I want to take us back into Exodus. You'll know that Exodus is the book of the Bible that covers where the Jewish people left Egypt and went wandering in the desert. And it's where they were really formed as a people, and they interacted with God, and God set down some guidance for how they could do that, to help them live in his presence. And in Exodus, it talks about making this altar, and it says this is from God, and it's saying, make an altar of acacia wood for burning incense. It's to be square, a cubit long and a cubit wide, and 2 cubits high. Its horns of one piece with it. Overlay the top and all the sides and the horns with pure gold, and make the gold moulding around it. Make 2 gold rings for the altar below the moulding, 2 on each of the opposite sides, to hold the poles to carry it. Make the pole, and it goes on. Okay, so it's a very detailed specification. And it says that Aaron must burn fragrant incense on the altar every morning when he tends the lamps. He must burn incense again when he lights the lamps at twilight. So incense will burn regularly before the Lord for the generations to come. He says, do not offer on this altar any other incense or burnt offering. Once a year, Aaron should make atonement on the horns, and this annual atonement must be with the blood of the atoning sin offering, for it is to the most holy Lord. In the tabernacle, in the tent that was used as a temple, the burner was an intrinsic part of that temple, and it was used to burn incense before God. And the incense represented both prayer and worship. Psalm 141 says, let my prayer be set before you as incense, the lifting up of my hands as the evening sacrifice. And if we skip through to Revelation, it talks about the throne room of God where the 4 living creatures and the 24 elders were falling down before the Lamb. And there were bowls full of incense, which represented the prayers of the saints as they sang that song, the holy, holy, holy. Prayer and worship go hand in hand. In fact, prayer is probably the deepest form of worship. The incense was burnt at the beginning and the end of the day. And we could take this as a pattern for our prayer and our worship. And to be fair, it would be a fairly good pattern, that we should remember God at the beginning and the end of each day. During lockdown, I think it's fair to say I've found personal worship quite hard at times. It's been difficult not meeting with you guys. It's been difficult not having my daily commute to work in Bedford. Those of you that will know me know that my daily commute is 2 hours each way, and it's a fantastic time to spend with God, in both worshipping and prayer. It's not so good when I shut my eyes on the A1, admittedly, but it's a good time for me. No, I've lost that. It's been helpful to try and remember God at the beginning and end of every day, to replace that. And that would be a good pattern. But do you know, that's not how incense works. You don't burn incense at the beginning of the day and it's gone, and then burn it at the end of the day and it's gone. Incense works a little bit different to that. He says, trying not to burn his fingers. And he's hoping this is going to work, because if it doesn't, he's going to look a real fool stood at the front. Yep, I can start to smell it. You see, incense, first of all, takes time to burn. In this case, it's taking a long time to burn. You can't rush it. And I think that's a real lesson for us about prayer and about worship. I know I've sometimes got to that point where, oh gosh, I've not fitted in some time for God today. It's the end of the day, but I'm really, really tired. I'll pray. I'll pray. And, you know, that prayer literally becomes, not quite, but it becomes, thank you, Lord, for the day. Bless my family. Night, bye. You know, it's the equivalent of grace at the beginning of a meal, isn't it? You know, for some people, grace is ready, steady, go. We can't rush it. It takes time to burn. But when it burns, it lingers in the air. The incense lingers. And that's something else that we need to understand, is that when we worship and we pray, it changes the atmosphere. I suspect that on Wednesday, when we do library training in this building, people are going to be walking in and going, what's that funny smell? And it changes the atmosphere. You know, we so often equate worship with worship bands and sung worship. But worship doesn't just have to be that. And I love that. I love singing. I love music. But it's not just about that. It can be about prayer. It can be about art. Some of the amazing stuff that Roy does is not only, I'm sure, not only just good art, but is prayer, and is certainly prophetic in some of the stuff that you produce. It can be about services, doing things for other people. It can be about poetry. It can be about creating or listening to music. It can be about washing the dishes or walking in the countryside. I'm sure you never thought about washing the dishes as being worship. Well, it depends whose dishes they are that you're washing, quite frankly. See, what makes worship worship is not the activity, but the heart we approach it with. Now, I can listen to the most amazing Christian band, the most amazing words that in it, a really good song that's clearly, powerfully written, and I cannot worship. I can be distracted by the music and just have it on the background. It can just flow over me. But equally, I can draw so close to God without that music just by simply saying, I love you, Jesus. I love you, Jesus. 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 And that could be the most exquisite worship of all. It's about our heart and how we approach it. In Exodus 30, I think we're given some really good advice about how we should approach worship. And I think it's all to do with the incense. Are you getting that at the back? It smells lovely here. The passage in Exodus 30 goes on, and it talks about the making of the incense. And this is in verses 34 to 38. It says, Then the Lord said to Moses, Take fragrant spices, gum resin, onycha, and galbanum, and pure frankincense, all in equal amounts, and make a fragrant blend of incense, the work of a perfumer. It is to be salted and pure and sacred. Grind some of it to powder and place it in front of the Ark of the Covenant in the tent of meeting, where I will meet with you. It shall be most holy to you. Do not make any incense with this formula for yourselves. Consider it holy to the Lord. Whoever makes incense like it whoever makes incense like it just to enjoy its fragrance must be cut off from the people. God gave real explicit instructions on how the incense should be made. First of all, the formula for incense is from God. It's not from us. And that's probably the most important thing, is worship is all about God. You know, it could mean good songs, good music, modern beats. It could be great programs within a church. It could be good teaching that leads to worship. It could be a beautiful setting, comfortable chairs, ambient carpets. But actually, if that's our focus and not God, then it's not worship. God is pleased with our worship wherever we are, whatever we're doing, when it's led and guided by the Holy Spirit, when it's led by God. And that's all about our attitude. And it is all about God because it's not about us. Because sometimes we think, well, I can't possibly worship. I've got a voice like a bag of rusty nails. Anybody that's heard me sing will know that. But that's not what it's about. You know, if we go back to that formula for incense, it says take gum resin, it takes onycha and galbanum. Do you know what onycha is? I've been pressed if you do. Okay, well, it's the hinge part of certain horn-shaped bivalve shellfish. Okay? Have you ever smelt shellfish? But it made a beautiful scent to the Lord because the Lord specified it. So when you think, I can't possibly worship because A, I don't know how, and B, I haven't got the skills, and C, it's just rubbish when I do it, and you know, even the cat runs away. God has put that heart of worship in you. The Holy Spirit is leading. You can worship in the same, not the same way, but with the same level of love and adoration and acceptance by the Lord as anybody. Another thing about this incense, it says it's salted. And that's got two meanings in it. And it means to be made like salt, as in ground up and fine. But it also means to be made pure and holy. And that's what God does with our worship. You see, when we come to God and we worship, it's an act similar to when the jar of incense was poured, the jar of nard was poured over Jesus' feet. When Mary brought that jar into the house in the Gospels, it was worth a year's wages. It was a sealed jar that she broke. She poured it out. And it made a sweet, sweet smell. The whole point of being salted is that we come, and we come with a broken spirit. What does that mean? Does that mean I've got to go through hardship? No, not necessarily. Does it mean that I've got to be poor? No, it doesn't. Does it mean that I've got to be in a position where I've been hurt? No, it doesn't. What it means is that you're putting God first. No matter what our experience is, no matter what our day is going like, we're bringing our worship, we're putting aside the monetary value of giving up something else to worship God. We're putting aside our dignity and our demeanour so that we come and worship as we can. And for sometimes, that will mean that you're going to come and you're going to mix with people and you're going to sing and you're going to do whatever you do to worship. and it's going to be great, it's going to be nice. Sometimes you're going to be in a position where that's not so good. Sometimes God will call you to get on your knees. That's going to be a challenge, Christine. But if that's what God's calling to you, it doesn't matter whether you're looking stupid. If you're worshipping, it's pure and holy. You know, sometimes God will call us to put our hands here, here, here. It looks daft. But it's about being open and putting God first. It's coming with that broken heart. The incense itself was to be made by a perfumer. It was to be made by somebody skilled in their trade. And the same is true with worship. If you're going to come and you're going to stand at the front and you're going to lead worship, there is a whole skill set that comes around that needs to be there. And it's only right that people that lead worship are skilled in what they do. You know, in Chronicles it talks about Chenaniah, leader of the Levites, leader of the priestly tribe, who was the instructor and in charge of music because he was skillful. Because God deserves the best. Now, I'm absolutely no worship leader. But I am called to give God my best. So whatever you eat or drink or whatever you do it for the glory of God. That's Corinthians. If you're on the Bible app, that was yesterday's verse of the day. I may not be skilled in music, but I'm called to give my best. It doesn't matter whether I'm singing, praying. It doesn't matter whether I'm serving somebody. It doesn't matter whether I'm washing the dishes of somebody. It doesn't matter whether I'm putting my hand in my pocket, taking out my wallet and placing it into the hand of a homeless person, the offering plate of a church, a charity, or working with somebody financially to put them in a better place. I give my best. Or at least I do, if that is to be worship. Our worship has to be completely focused on God. The way we worship may be through activities. But whatever we do, we're to worship the Lord and only Him. He's a jealous God. You know, while we've not been able to meet together physically, I've already said I found it quite difficult to worship at times. I'm going to guess the same would be true for some of you. There's been two songs that have really got me through the whole of lockdown. In fact, to say there's two songs would be stretching it. Because those two songs are You're Worthy of It All and Your Praise Will Ever Be on My Lips. And quite frankly, it's not the two songs, it's a few phrases from each song. And if you've been unlucky enough to come across me while I've been walking the dog, and you've probably heard me growling them out, particularly on Green Lane. Green Lane's great. If you want to go somewhere to praise loudly and not be seen by anybody, Green Lane's really good. But I've had to concentrate on those words. I've had to concentrate on those repeated words. I can't remember the rest of the song, but there's been a few phrases that have allowed me to connect with God in a really powerful way. And you know, I'm sure as I say those few words, as I sit there or stand just repeating, that His praise will ever be on my lips. I'm sure that those words billow up like incense and fill the throne room of God. And you know, when you do the same, whether you sing a bit of a song, all of a song, whether you pick up papier-mâché and make art, or paint, or write poetry, or just sit still and say, "Sweet Jesus, Jesus, I love you." whatever you do fills that throne room. And I'm sure God looks down and knows that you are worshipping and responds with his presence into your lives. And that's how we're going to finish. We're going to play one of those songs, and then when we finish that, we'll pray and we'll be done for the day. What I would encourage you to do during this next song, and it's only short, is just close your eyes. You're not allowed to sing anyway. Close your eyes. Listen to those words. Think them through in your heart. And I pray God meets with you as you do.
Like a vow that is tested, like a covenant of old. Your love is enduring through the winter rain and beyond the horizon, with mercy for today. Faithful you have been, and faithful you will be. You pledge yourself to me, that's why I sing your praise will ever be on my lips, ever be on my lips. Your praise will ever be on my lips, ever be on my lips. Your praise will ever be on my lips, ever be on my lips. Your praise will ever be on my lips, ever be on my lips. Us whole, and you shoulder our weakness, and your strength becomes our own. You're making me like you, clothing me in white, bringing beauty from ashes. For you will have your bride, free of all her guilt, and rid of all her shame. That's why I sing your praise will ever be on my lips, ever be on my lips. Your praise will ever be on my lips, ever be on my lips. Your praise will ever be on my lips, ever be on my lips. Your praise will ever be on my lips, ever be on my lips. You will sing your praise will ever be on my lips, ever be on my lips. Your praise will ever be on my lips, ever be on my lips. Your praise will ever be on my lips, ever be on my lips. Your praise will ever be on my lips, ever be on my lips.
Lord, we pray this week that as we go from here, you'll meet with each of us, that we'll know your presence. We pray that as we can go through this week, we can spend time worshipping you. And Lord, we know that as we do that, our praise, our prayers will fill your throne room. It's beautiful incense. Thank you that you never abandon us. Thank you that you love us. We've got rats in the PA. Sorry. So Lord, I just pray for everyone here. I just pray you'll bless them, you'll keep them, you'll be with them this week. In Jesus' great name. Amen.